Yo, it's Zero, and today I have a really special video to bring back to my channel. What if Madara raised Naruto? This was a really fun series for me to revisit and watch for myself before bringing it back to my channel. And since the Uchiha video did so great, I thought it would be good to return this series as well, as many of you did like it. Before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you're new or you just haven't already. Now, without any more wait at all, let's get started.
Go, let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most, I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me, niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
On the night of the Nine-Tails attack, there were two masked men upon the scene. One attacked the leaf while the other waited in the shadows. The masked man that possessed a Sharingan fought against the fourth Hokage. Once the battle was over, the Nine-Tails vanished. And so did the son of the fourth Hokage. The two masked men meet up again, with one of them revealing themselves as Orochimaru, the Snake Sannin. The two masked men then go somewhere, as they would head to a hideout, and they step into a room where they had placed a sleeping baby. Before the two could start a conversation, someone else walked into the room. He had long, dark hair, with strange cracks and markings upon his face. His eyes were also red, as he would now speak. I, Madara Uchiha, believe this child will be the key to the perfect world that I have envisioned. Orochimaru, implant this boy with my own DNA. He needs the true blood of the Uchiha to be of use to me. The baby wakes up and then stares at Madara, who walks over and picks him up. The baby is then taken by Orochimaru. It might be a little difficult, but I think I can make it happen. Madara nods and walks away with the masked man. As the baby Naruto sees this, he begins to cry, reaching out for the long-haired man. 5 years later, we see the point of view of someone sitting inside a tank of a blue liquid. This person slowly opens their eyes to see a black-haired man with red eyes staring at him. He also sports cracks within his face, which confuses him, and he's sort of scary. It's almost as if this man called to him. The black-haired boy breaks the glass and then falls to the ground, beginning to breathe the air in the room. Robes are then put on the boy, as Orochimaru also walks in, and Madara kneels to the boy. It's time you leave this place and discover the truth of this world. Are you my father? And what is my name? Of course, I am your father. Your name is Izuna Uchiha, the second, that is. Named after my late brother, your uncle. Honor him by becoming stronger with his name as your own. Izuna is given more clothes and a sword with a snake emblem on it. He bows to Orochimaru, who speaks to him. Think of it as a parting gift. I'm sure I'll see you later, Izuna. Izuna then runs off and gets tired of walking, so he's carried on the back of Madara. While they travel, he is told many stories about the past, as Madara reaches the hideout where another masked man already was. Since you are my son and my rightful heir, I must pass down all my knowledge and my skills to you. Draw your blade. Izuna does so as the training begins. Purely combat training for a year and a half with Obito and his father. Obito in a sense is his elder brother, and on their last day of basic combat, Madara knocks him out on purpose. Then he lifts up the shirt of the boy, as he then undoes the seal, releasing the Nine-Tails within the boy. If he cannot tame the beast, then he does not deserve to be called my son. Izuna wakes up in water, looking at the Nine-Tails, which was still in a cage. And Uchiha, the sight of you disgusts me. Why? Because your clan chooses to use my power in selfish ways, only for the benefit of themselves. But now is my chance to destroy you. So do you hate me? The Ninetales then snarls at the boy. How can you hate me if it isn't my fault that you're inside of me? I didn't put you in here. The beast then pauses for a moment, and Izuna continues. How about we kill those who have wronged you in this world? Then, I'll change the world so that a new set of rules will be in place. The Ninetales stops for a moment, being surprised by the boy. This wasn't normal at all. This child, could he suddenly relate to others? And his words. He looked down at the boy, who stared back at him. His eyes, the rage that filled within the eyes of this small Uchiha, the will he could sense inside of him, the will of fire. Knowing his intentions could be pure, the beast laid back down to sort of wait this out and see what happens, as Izuna would then smile. Me and you, we're gonna be great partners one day. Get out of my sight, brat. Izuna sits up in bed and holds his side, remembering he was heavily injured and how he was. As he lays back down to get some rest, his father would come back into the room. So, you passed the test. Well done, my son. Izuna then looks to Madara. Father, what happened to my mother? And who was she? You don't really talk about her at all. I had a feeling you would eventually ask me this. Your mother was a brave and heroic woman, kind and strong. Sadly, she passed away giving birth to you. Izuna looks down with a sad expression. He then sees his sword as he cuts the back of his hand. I vow to make her and my uncle proud. Over the years, Izuna learned all he could from his father. He also unlocked his 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Madara calls over his son as the two would then travel to the Valley of the End, looking off at the sunset. As Madara would then begin to speak to him for one final time. Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world, my son. The longer you live, the more you realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen, everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will always exist. The selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates war, and hatred is born in order to protect those you love. As my son, I leave my own will of fire to you. Izuna Uchiha. Know that your father will always love you. Izuna begins to tear up as he watches his father then fade away. Obito appears, and then Izuna would turn to him. Elder brother, I'm heading off to the village hidden within the leaves. Would you like me to recover your other eye for you? Obito nods. Remember what I have told you about that place. Trust no one, not a single soul. Izuna heads off, but first, he makes a little pit stop somewhere. He goes to the hideout of Orochimaru. He sneaks in and goes into the laboratory where he remembered being born. So, it's already time, a voice would say. Izuna doesn't even turn around. I'll make sure to help you get the body of a young Uchiha, due to you helping my family out. Such a big role you have to take. Are you sure you can keep up with the pressure? You are just a child. Izuna, angered, flares up his bloodlust to a point it resembled his father's. Well, that answers that question. Izuna then vanished from the base using the flying Raijin technique as he travels to the leaf and sneaks in. However, he's detected by Itachi Uchiha, a young Uchiha prodigy who's set in stone to become the next Hokage. Or, that's what everyone thinks. He's taken to the Hokage office, where Hiruzen will then speak to him. Lord Third, this boy snuck into the village. I'll take it from here, Itachi. Thank you. What is your name, and why did you come here? I want to become a ninja. My name is Izuna Uchiha. Where are your parents? They were killed by bandits in their sleep while I was gone with my elder brother. Oh, so where's your elder brother then? He went to a different village, and he said we could meet up in the future. He said something about the tuning exams. Hiruzen would keep questioning him, and he does send ninjas to the location that Izuna would give where his parents were killed by bandits, as when the ninjas did arrive, there were 2 people who were brutally murdered on the scene. And they were Uchiha, they just weren't part of the leave. However, their bodies were so damaged that they couldn't be identified. Hiruzen accepts and has tabs kept on the boy, but he tells him that the Genin exams will take place in a few days, so hopefully he is able to pass that so that he can meet up with his brother in the future. Izuna easily passes and is assigned to Team 7, along with Sasuke and Sakura. They would wait on their sensei to come into the room, and Sasuke stares towards Izuna. This is so weird. Random Uchiha comes to their class and scores higher than me? Izuna then turns his way and stands up. Do you have a problem with me being here? You fake Uchiha. What? If anyone here is fake, it's you. Izuna then smiles and puts Sasuke under a genjutsu. Within this genjutsu, his body's weight is multiplied, causing him to sink into the ground. Sasuke awakes on the rooftop as he questions how he got here, but then looks to his left to see Sakura and Izuna, as their sensei was still standing in front of them. Kakashi would then repeat the question because it seems Sasuke didn't hear him. And it would go on, as now it was Izuna's turn, as he looks towards the Hokage monument, as he would say, I will fix this accursed world. Kakashi is taken back by this response, as now we skip to the day of the bell test. Then it begins. After Kakashi would explain the rules, Izuna rushes in. He tells him that he's a fool, but Izuna pulls out a blade to force him back. Kakashi ducks under it and goes for the punch, but the boy moves fast and strikes him with his free hand. His sensei wonders how he was able to do this, but then he sees the eyes of Izuna. A 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Looks like I'll have to take him a little more seriously. Izuna jumps towards Kakashi again, this time jumping into the air, forming hand signs. Fire style, majestic destroyer flame. Kakashi tries to put up a mud wall to block, but he's then blacks out when the attack hits him. When he wakes up, he sees the 3rd Hokage by his side as he's in a hospital room now. Lord Third, what happened? You were knocked out by Izuna. He's quite strong, which worries me. He comes from an unknown family of Uchiha that were outside of the village, and he's already able to compete with you, a Jonin ninja. However, I'm sure you were caught off guard, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt to be a mid-Chunin level. Make sure you keep an eye on that boy, Kakashi. The Hokage would get up as he would leave the room. The team would continue to do their regular missions, which would eventually lead to them getting assigned the Bridge Builder mission. The night before the team heads out, someone visits Izuna. A masked man warps into his apartment. Obito then takes off his mask and sits down, and tosses Izuna a fan. I've gotten it cleaned and fortified by the strongest materials. Now, make good use of it, younger brother. About damn time. I'll bring you the Sharingan after the Chunin exams. He nods before warping away. The next day, Team 7 then heads out. As they travel, they get attacked by the Demon Mist brothers. Before Sasuke can react, Izuna pulls out his fan and uses it to block one of the attacks while catching the other's fist. Then, he throws the other away, as he would say, such lowly creatures. He breaks the one's hand who he was holding and then slams him to the ground as he pushes the other back with his fan again and keeps swinging it. A wind blade then comes off of it suddenly and cuts the ninja in half. Izuna then walks over to the ground where the other was holding his hand. Tell me everything you know. The shinobi tries to attack, but he then stops. For some reason, he was no longer in the forest. He was standing in a dark room in water. Suddenly, the Nine Tails appeared before him, as this caused him to almost have a heart attack from fear. He suddenly returns to the forest, as he's tied up now. Kakashi was busy interrogating Tazuna, but Izuna was still standing in front of him. So, you want to talk to me or my furry friend? The ninja then stopped in fear, and this caused Izuna to kick him in the head so that it snapped his neck and killed him. What a shame. Oh well though, let's keep going. Sakura and Sasuke watched this happen, and this kind of scared them. This was brutal even for a shinobi, and this was the first time any of them had seen a death like this right in front of them. The team then makes it to a boat where they would take it to the land of waves and get off. This is where the blade of Zabuza comes rushing at them as it was thrown. Izuna activates his Sharingan and grabs the blade out of the air, skidding back a little bit because of the force at which it was thrown. Zabuza then appears and the blade is tossed back to him. Let's fight. Me and you. Don't make me laugh, you brat. You really think you can? Zabuza then jumps back, dodging the blade of Izuna. Not bad, kid, but it's gonna take way more than that. Kakashi tries to jump in, but his shoulder is kicked by Izuna as he goes flying back. Stay out of my fight. If you can't beat me, how do you expect to beat him? Izuna, you can't just... He then makes a clone that would stop him from joining the fight. He turned back to Zabuza, who is now gone. Izuna then jumps to the side, dodging the blade, having his clothes cut a little bit. You fight sneakily, but I'm worse. He then kicks up dirt, getting it in the eyes of Zabuza, and right after, he cuts him across his chest, and he places his other hand upon his chest. Izuna then whispers to him and flips back. The two would continue their fight as Zabuza would lose, and a masked man would come out of nowhere, knocking him out, or what would appear like to kill him. That night, when Zabuza wakes up, he sees Izuna and the masked man right in front of him. Haku then takes off his mask, and Izuna throws them Akatsuki uniforms. Do you two accept my offer? Zabuza thinks about it after hearing more about it, and he nods, leaving with Haku once a masked man would appear. Team 7 easily completes their mission, and if you are wondering about Gato and his men, just know that, well, they had to deal with Obito and Izuna the night before they actually went to go repair the bridge. Team 7 then returns to the leave as the Chunin exams will be announced. Kakashi does allow his team to participate, but he does have his doubts about Izuna. The day of the exams would soon arrive, and Team 7 heads to the testing room. They still would encounter Rock Lee, who beats up Sasuke in their short fight. When they find the real testing room, Izuna looks around and notices Orochimaru instantly. So, the plan is already set in motion. That's good. The written test is normal, and now we have the Forest of Death. As they go in, Izuna makes eye contact with multiple people from other villages. He also purposely leaves a trail behind so that his team could be found. This is what gets the group found by Orochimaru. Izuna is then surrounded by more ninjas, giving him the perfect excuse to leave his team alone to fight the Sannin. Izuna just simply dodges attacks and knocks out his opponents, because he knows they are allies. And while this was going on, Sasuke was given the curse mark. Izuna then jumps on the branch and he looks at the unconscious Sasuke, as Sakura was holding him while crying. Izuna then smiles while holding his blade, activating his Sharingan. Izuna, what are you do? Sakura was about to scream out his name and question him. However, she's killed with one slice. Now that she's dead, we can leave. There are no witnesses here. Let's go. Orochimaru picks up the body of the unconscious Sasuke, and the two begin to retreat. But they were intercepted by Itachi and Shisui. You go on ahead. I'll take them on, Izuna says with a smile. Orochimaru tries to run by, causing Itachi to swing his blade, but it's caught by a masked man. Little brother, You can fight them later. We must now go prepare. Izuna sighs, putting his fan and his sword on his back. I guess I'll have to see you two later. They would then warp away with the masked man. As now, they wait. Eventually the final part of the tuning exams does happen, and when it occurs, the attack on Konoha begins. However, this attack was very different from the one we know. Not only was the sound and sand attacking, along with the tail beast of the sand, there was also, the Akatsuki along with them. Izuna and the masked man were at the head of the charge. Kakashi, who was on the battlefield, will be confronted by his former student, Izuna. Izuna, why are you doing this? It's simple, Kakashi. I desire a truthful world, and this village is in the way of my vision. Izuna speeds past Kakashi and rips out his eye as he then tosses it to a masked man who was watching. Kakashi then sees the masked man put in his other eye, as this angers him to some degree. But now the mask comes off. It's been quite some time, hasn't it, Kakashi? Obito then stares down at Kakashi, who is now in shock. This is where the Uchiha formed his own lightning blade, and Kakashi would do the same, knowing that he has to fight, but still very confused. When the two would clash, Obito uses Kamui to make his body intangible while still cutting down his old comrade. Izuna begins to chuckle. I'm gonna go have some fun. He jumps from rooftop to rooftop and begins running. Now 3 people would confront him: Fugaku, Itachi, and Shisui. Where is Sasuke? Izuna begins laughing even more. You should know the answer to that question by now. Fugaku angrily attacks the boy, who simply dodges and counterattacks. Shisui then appears behind him, but he blocks with his fan. Itachi shoots a fireball, but another one would hit it. Someone then walks through the explosion of flames. It's Sasuke. Fugaku then runs to his son, hugging him, glad to know that he's safe. This is when the man gets stabbed through his chest by a sword. Sasuke, why? Fugaku then pulls back and gets a good look at his face to see a Mangekyo Sharingan in Sasuke's lighter toned skin. It wasn't a pale, but it wasn't his normal skin tone either. Sorry, but Sasuke Uchiha no longer inhabits this body. Itachi would see this, and he tries to run to his father's aid, but he's cut down by someone. It's Shisui. Shisui then hands over the body of Itachi to Orochimaru. Alright, I've done my part of my deal. Now, Shisui is then cut off, as he will be killed by Izuna. I don't trust you yet. It seems too easy to convince you, which means it'll be easier for you to betray me in the future. After this, the attack is called off. However, every remaining Uchiha was captured. The Leaf would lose their strongest clan. All of the Uchiha would wake up to see Izuna and Obito standing right in front of them. Izuna explains his plan and then finishes with this: will you follow me, the rightful heir, Izuna Uchiha, son of Madara? They all sat in shock, and only a few joined. And they would be untied. So to prove their loyalty, they were forced to kill their friends and family, which granted them higher levels of dojutsu, mostly Mangekyo Sharingans. As the group of Uchiha would then vanish, and nothing was heard from them or the Akatsuki for the next 3 years. The Leaf was then suddenly destroyed, causing all the other Kage to call a Kage summit. This summit was then invaded by 2 people: Izuna, who is now a teenager, and Obito, who was just a little bit older. The 2 of them now show their faces while having Akatsuki robes on and standing on the table, which was in the middle of the room that had all the Kage sitting at it. The Raikage then goes in for the attack on Obito, but he goes right through him and lands against the wall, as this will cause him to smile. This world will soon be a new age of peace, but before peace comes war. I, Obito Uchiha, leader of the Akatsuki, declare war on all those who do not stand with me and my younger brother. The Raikage scoffs as he looks at the smaller Uchiha. So that's your brother? Who the hell is he? Izuna then appears right behind the Raikage, stabbing him through his shoulder with his blade. The Uchiha clan head and rightful heir to the clan, Izuna Uchiha, the second, and the second son of the great Madara Uchiha. All the Kage pause as Inoki, the oldest one in the room, would speak. This can't be true. Madara was killed by Hashirama long ago. As Izuna would then smile. He escaped death by sacrificing one of his eyes with a special genjutsu that my clan possesses. I am the heir to the clan, and it will be shown in my skill. I was given this name to honor my fallen uncle. Now, I will help my family create true peace upon this world. I would like all the nations to hand over their tail beasts. The Kage would laugh at the boy, who then pulls out the fan of Madara, showing who he truly is. He does a winjutsu that slams everyone into the walls of the room. Shut your filthy mouths. I had a feeling you would refuse. So, the first strike against the world will happen now. Obito then warps away. The Mizukage questions where he went, and Izuna smiles. He's going to enact the plan and start capturing the tail beasts with our armies. All of them then get up and try to attack Izuna, who first, he kills all the guards. Good, now it's only 4 of you. But how about I make this a little more fun? Izuna does the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and his clones then fight for him. Each Kage is beaten by the clones who were just toying with them. Izuna then stands back up. All of you bore me, so how about you guys fight me all at once? Izuna then makes his clone heal all the injuries of every Kage, as the Raikage enters his lightning mode and rushes Izuna. As his fist was right in front of the boy's face, for some reason, his lightning mode then vanished, as he then kicked by Izuna to the ground and sent skidding. But Izuna was now in his own lightning cloak mode. This angered the Raikage, who demanded to know what was going on. Inoki then points out something. Look, the eyes of the boy have now changed. It must be his Mangekyo Sharingan ability. Izuna appears right in front of the Raikage, who tries to punch down at him, but it's easily dodged, and then Izuna sticks his whole arm through the Raikage and rips it out, killing him. Then he coldly stares at the remaining Kage. He gets rid of the lightning cloak and shows off something even more dangerous. Izuna summons the Nine Tails and cloaks it within a black Susanoo armor. He wipes the floor with the remaining Kage with one attack. However, one of them was kept alive, Gaara, the Kaze Kage. Izuna then takes him to the location where he can have his tail beasts extracted. Without the leaders of each village, they would begin to panic, which makes it easier for the 2 armies to invade. One of the armies was the Akatsuki and the White Zetsu, who were led by Obito, while the other was Izuna, leading White Zetsu, revived Shinobi, and the army of Uchiha. They then, once all the tail beasts were captured, only one was left, the Nine Tails. They revived the 4th Hokage and extracted that portion of the beast. Now, Madara was summoned, and he was given his Rinnegan that was possessed by Nagato, and Nagato would be killed. He then walks to his 2 sons and hugged them. You 2 have made me very proud. Izuna then smiled, seeing his father again, but someone else also arrived. Izuna, his younger brother, was also revived. He walks over to Madara, who introduces his sons. Izuna then kneels down to his uncle. You truly are amazing, but I expect no less from my blood and someone who bears my name. Each of you properly carry the Uchiha name on your back. Madara then becomes the 10-tailed Jinchuriki and the Sage of the 6 Paths, as he would cast the infinite Tsukuyomi over the world.